After years upon years of anticipation, Persona 3, Persona 4, and Persona 5 are all on modern platforms to varying degrees of price and quality, and at the bottom of both of these categories is Persona 3 Portable, being one of, if not the worst Sega title released since Sonic 06, let alone the worst Atlas title. There's so many things wrong with this remaster that I hesitate to even call it a remaster in the first place, but Atlas will gladly claim it's a remaster on the Steam page, with images like this being front and center. Anything that's not a 3D model or part of the HUD looks absolutely terrible, especially if it's an object that is in a pattern or sequence, like this shelf over here. I can't even tell what was originally supposed to be there because it's so smeary. And it's not just some areas that are smeary like this, the entire game is chock full of some of the worst AI upscaled textures I've seen. Just look at this screenshot. I don't think there's ever been an official product from a known developer to have a texture that looks like this. It would be one thing if it was a photo from a leaked build super early into development, but no, this is the final product you can purchase right now. And funnily enough, that instance with the bike is probably like one of the more tame instances, because there are some that are arguably worse. I have a whole like folder. I have a whole folder full of screenshots. So yeah, I'll put this on the screen now. Not only are the visuals extremely subpar, but the audio is literally worse than the PSP original. Scenes like the summoning of Orpheus have snippets of dialogue and sound effects, and while they don't sound amazing on PSP, they sound even worse in the remaster. Here, take a listen.
Here goes. Here goes.
If I had to guess, maybe they used a standard compression algorithm to re-encode the audio without properly changing the settings for specific files. While the dialogue in normal conversation sounds better than the scene I showed earlier, it still sounds just as crunchy as it was on PSP. It's been 13 years and you couldn't give us the higher quality sound? We've seen with games like Catherine that Atlas does keep their uncompressed voice lines, but they didn't care to re-implement them here for whatever reason. Not only that, but the music sounds the exact same as the PSP version. While this isn't necessarily a bad thing, as the music in the PSP version was free of super obvious compression artifacts, it shows how little effort was placed into the remaster. And that's my main issue with it, the lack of effort. I could at least understand the lacking textures and audio if they added anything of note, like skill inheritance or the FMV cutscenes from Fez, but no. They added next to nothing and expect us to pay $20 for it. To be fair, there are some additional features here, like up to 120 FPS support on certain hardware, and the ability to quick save wherever you want in the game. Those are genuinely nice things to have, but the fact that those are the only notable things changed is further proof this remaster had next to no effort put into it. The company responsible for the P3P remaster also did the remaster for Golden, and it's honestly astonishing how far apart these remasters are in quality. Damn near everything in Golden looks super clean and free of AI artifacts, audio is much clearer and doesn't jarringly switch quality from scene to scene, and after a few updates, it ran perfectly. Meanwhile, Persona 3 Portable freaked out my AMD Radeon graphics overlay, making the screen flash super rapidly. I didn't record it unfortunately, I'll see if I can get a clip of it in action later. No other game does this, including Persona 4 Golden, so I have no idea what it could be. I don't think it's my graphics card, I'm pretty sure it's the game. Getting back to the game itself though, the lacking image quality quality is noticeable almost immediately. The opening stills that use screenshots from P3's anime opening are really blurry. It's like they smeared the whole thing with Vaseline. It genuinely doesn't make sense, as they have two super easy ways of improving the image quality sitting right in front of them. The first way is to simply replace the screenshots with the same frames from the PS2 version, as those are double the resolution, giving the AI upscaler a lot more information to work with. And the other solution would be to use screenshots from the Persona 3 movie, as those are even higher quality than the PS2 release and have loads more detail to boot. The P3P True HD mod uses these, and it looks amazing. And right before the MC heads to the dorm, there's a panning shot of the moon, and you can literally see a humongous seam in the image. It's like no one played this before they sent it out. I don't understand how Sega and Atlus thought this was acceptable. And like I said before, Pre-App Partners did the remaster for both Golden and Portable. And when they were showing Atlus higher-ups the work they did for Portable, not only was it being shown on a large TV, but apparently Atlus was impressed. I don't know if they have no standards or if they're blind, but if they were impressed by this, then there's clearly a larger problem at hand. And what makes this even worse than what it already is, Atlus wanted to charge more than $20. How is this worth more than $20 in their eyes? Sure, it's still a long and content-rich JRPG, but it's over a decade old and has been $20 since at least, 2015 on the PlayStation Store? It's not worth $25, it just isn't. In my opinion, if you're on PC and don't want to use Game Pass, just emulate the original and use the True HD texture pack. In some ways it looks better, and in some ways it looks worse, but overall, I think the fan pack offers a similar experience for the low price of $000. If you have a decent enough computer to emulate the PSP, of course. Hell, even most phones can emulate the PSP, including iOS devices, so there's no real reason to stream the Game Pass version either, to be honest. Even if you're on an Xbox, there's not much reason to play the official release, since you can set up either PPSSPP or PCSX2 and play the original releases without having to rely on a Game Pass subscription or to pay $20 to own the game outright. What I really hate about this remaster is the precedent it sets for future Atlus remasters of old titles. If they port something like Persona Q or SMT4, are they going to waifu 2X them and call it a day? Are they going to leave super compressed audio and AI upscaled cutscenes that look like mosaics in the game? Why even ask for ports if this is what they're going to give us? Atlus won't give hardcore fans a reason to stop emulating the games, but it's still good enough for the casual crowd, especially the folks who only have 1 or 2 game consoles or don't want to fiddle with setting up emulators. And if you're enjoying your time with the Persona 3 Portable Remaster, I'm happy for you. Don't let some YouTuber invalidate your enjoyment of the game. Atlus has been depriving us of these games for years, and I don't blame anyone for playing them. But at the same time, people buying this remaster will only tell Atlus that this kind of quality is acceptable, when it most certainly is not. And before you ask, no, I didn't pay for it, I just downloaded it through Game Pass, which still benefits Atlus, just not nearly as much as a purchase would. Before I sign off, I want to thank my lone Patreon supporter, Azu Crystal, for her $2 pledge. I'll be sure to not spend it on Persona 3 Portable, I swear. So, how do you guys feel about the Persona 3 Portable Remaster? Are you disappointed? Is the game in line with your expectations? Or is it below that? Do you think they should have charged more for the game? Let me know in the comments below. And now that Azu is supporting the Patreon, I guess I'll keep both open. So now I have YouTube membership and Patreon if you want to support one or the other. Any support at all is greatly appreciated, and you'll get a shout out at the end of the video. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.